So for today, we're going to be ranking every single agent based on how hard they are to play. We got our 5 categories. We got impossible to play, 200 IQ, just right, not very difficult, and then easy peasy. We got our first agent, Astra. I feel like Astra's 200 IQ. I don't know if Astra's as hard as people think. I feel like you could definitely like pick her up. I don't think she's like impossible, right? Impossible to play. She actually might be considered impossible to play now because you have one less star. You know, she used to be very lenient where if you're used to putting your stars down, she wasn't really that hard. But now that you have to put them down on the fly, you can't put them down early, really. And she, if you use a suck at the wrong time, you're kind of screwed because you don't get it back. I feel like she's impossible to play, actually. We'll put her impossible to play. Next up is Breach. I feel like Breach might be 200 IQ. Somewhere between just right and 200 IQ is what I'm thinking. The thing with Breach though is you really do have to combo with your teammates to put in that work cuz his stun, you got to get in those right angles where you're stunning like an entire area and you got to time it with your teammates going in almost. That's what I mean. I feel like if you're like a higher level Breach, it's like 200 IQ. You can't just be like a freaking unga bunga baboon just go in there, you know? I think you actually have to think about how you're using your abilities and like time them with your teammates' push. I feel like because of that, I'd put him as 200 IQ. I don't think he's easy. I think 200 IQ for sure. But speaking of unga bunga, I think Brim is easy peasy. You think not very difficult? There are some lineups to learn, so you're not wrong. I will say his Molly has that weird like trajectory where it has like the triple bounce that could get hard to get used to, you know what I mean? And on top of that, you are smoking, so you have to understand enough about the game to smoke. So because of that, I think I can agree with moving him up a little bit. We'll put him at not very difficult. Next is Chamber. If you think Chamber is an easy peasy dude, come on, man. Chamber literally has one ability, which is his trip. Chamber is too easy of an agent to play. You just put down a trip, your ult is literally a free operator. It's like, come on, man. Let's get into Cypher. I think Cypher is also 200 IQ. There's a lot that goes into a Cypher setup. It's almost like an art and a science at the same time. You know what I mean? You have to really think about like, how am I gonna put my trip, set it up. You gotta think the timing of your cage. You gotta like play in a different spot every single round. You gotta like be built different. There's too much. I'm putting Cypher 200 IQ. Next up is Fade. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. I have not played her at all yet. I literally haven't even unlocked her as of this stream. All I know is what her kit does. Her kit doesn't seem very hard, but I don't think it looks easy. I'm gonna put her in just right for now at least, unless you guys have a different. Yeah, I think we all agree that she's just right, right? I don't think she's hard. Next up is Jet. Before I would have put Jet in not very difficult, but like because of her new nerf, I feel like she's in just right now. Yeah, okay, I think this is a good spot. I think Jet, we're gonna stick with just right for Jet. Next up is KO. Funny enough, I think KO is also just right. There's nothing hard about his kit, but his kit's not like so easy, I don't think. KOE, take 20 IQ to use. No, because you have to really time it. The thing is, people throw it right at the beginning of the round, which is not how you're supposed to use it. You're supposed to use it to counter a push. Like, you're supposed to wait till you hear things like Sova drone or like smokes go down and then you throw it. Because then you'll turn off everybody and you'll literally stop their execute. Because if you cancel a drone with a free ability, it's actually huge value, but people don't know how to time it. They just throw it early and like get nothing out of it, or they scan 5 and then the enemy team runs away. I think his flash is not like is that easy. Like it requires some getting used to. His ultimate also requires you to work with your team and know how to like push together. I feel like just right's a good spot for KO, man. He seems like a really well balanced in terms of difficulty. Next up, we got KJ. I feel like KJ is not very difficult. I don't want to put her as easy peasy because I do think like there's some thought in her setup similar to Cypher. You should be moving around, but realistically, if you're playing on the map like Ascent, you can put the same setup every time and it's just so hard to beat. It seems like you guys want her in just right. I guess we can put her in just right for now. We'll move her up. I'll put her at the lowest just right. I feel like she's not very difficult, but that's just me. Next up is Neon. I feel like Neon's impossible to play or 200 IQ, dude. Neon's actually so hard, bro. I don't care what anyone says. Her movement is so hard to get used to. You have to be so good. They made her sliding way more consistent, and you can now slide at slower speed. I haven't actually played with it myself yet, but it seems like people are doing it way easier now. So Because of that, I feel like she's closer to 200 IQ than she was. But her stun is also like, yeah, it's kind of wild in the directions it goes, but I feel like it's not that bad. Like, I feel like you can get used to it, to be honest. Actually, no. Impossible to play. It's so hard not to put her in impossible to play. The more I think about it, the more I think like, yeah, dude, she's hard, man. Yeah, I can't put her lower than that, dude. She's actually like, if you put me on Neon, I'll literally do nothing. I'll do better on Neon not using a single ability than I would if I used her kit, like straight up. So I'm gonna put her impossible to play. Next up is Omen. He's got to be just right. His TPs are a little bit difficult for newer players, I'll say. His flash is very intuitive. The real big thing for me is knowing his ultimate and his like TPs and knowing how to use them, because the concept of repositioning is a little bit confusing to a lot of like lower level players or newer players. So that definitely takes some time, but I definitely feel like he's just right. Next up is Phoenix. I don't want to put Phoenix just right, but dude, they've been balancing these agents from difficulty, man. I feel like Phoenix is also just right. Yeah, dude. Personally, I think he fits in just right, but I'm seeing a lot of not difficult, so I'm going to put him in not very difficult for you guys, I think. Next up is Raze. I feel like Raze is not very difficult. Like, okay, I will admit her movement can get hard to really master and use her double satcheling, which makes me want to put her higher up. But if we're being honest, like, you can literally throw an 8 and get, like, 2 kills out of nowhere. You guys think satchels are that hard? I mean, then again, I fail with them half the time, too. You guys think 200 IQ, eh? Okay, tell you what, we'll put her in just right. I think that's a good spot too. Like, it's not that bad. I could definitely see her in just right. Next up is Reina. I think there's no doubt about Reina. I feel like she's easy peasy, dude. 100%. You literally have one ability, and when you get a kill, you just press E. Any objections to Reina? I don't think so, right? Next up is Sage. I think Sage is not very difficult. I don't want to put her in easy peasy because I've seen too many people just not use the slows at all. And I think when we compare her to like Chamber and Reina, I feel like she definitely requires more thought in her abilities. Res 200 IQ, man. If you res the guy with 5 kills instead of the guy with 20, you're gonna be screwed, man. That's for sure. That's where the mastery comes in. Next up is Skye. I think Skye 200 IQ. Dude, I'm pretty sure my stats on Skye are literally horrendous. If I've even played her this act. Can we just double check this quickly? I don't think I flashed an enemy in like months with this character whenever I use her. It's actually horrible. It's actually so bad. I played one game. I got one flash kill the entire game. Literally, this is how the average day goes in Valorant. You get flashed by Skye 3 times in a row and die every single time, 3 rounds. And you're like, holy crap, man, this agent's so broken, dude. So brain dead, dude. I'm playing her next game. And then you play her next game and you go like 3 and 17. And you literally missed every single flash. And don't lie to me, you know that happens. Don't lie to me, you know that happens. I'm going to keep her 200 IQ. I think for me, I got to put her there. Alright, next up, we got Sova. He's somewhere between 200 IQ and just right. The reason I want to say 200 IQ is because his shock darts are not easy to use. Yeah, you can learn a lineup and just memorize it, but like to use them on the fly is very difficult. His owl drone is probably the only easy thing in his kit. His ultimate, even when you tag someone with a drone, dude, it can be hard to get a kill. You need to position yourself in ways to where you catch them stuck in a corridor, kind of like a breach stun, where you guarantee kill those people and they can't dodge it, right? I think Sova easy 200 IQ, dude. I don't think there's a doubt in anyone's mind, right? Yeah, Viper's next. Viper, I think, easily goes 200 IQ. Her ultimate's really strong, but it's not just a free win. You have to really know how to, like, play around it, how to, like, maneuver yourself. You have to, like, know how to, like, reposition very well. You have to know when it's a good time to leave your ultimate based on sound cues and stuff. You know, there's just like a lot of work that goes into like a Viper ult. It's very like artistic. It's like it's just like you just gotta be like different, bro. I don't know how to explain it. You just gotta like have that mental edge, which is why I'm just so good at her. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know one lineup, bro. You don't need a lineup on Viper. You just need superior intellect, good timings, insane positioning, slightly below average aim, and like just the will and drive of a fighter and a hero, and you can just play Viper in a top tier level like me. Last but not least is Yoru. Yoru is impossible to play. That is 100%. I don't care what anybody says, dude. That is 100% fact. I know that his footsteps are way easier to use than they were before because they're literally broken now. But at the end of the day, dude, if you give a even if you give a platinum player, the average platinum player Yoru, they're literally gonna do nothing on this character. Straight up. Dude, if you see Yoru's two man, like if they're in like a 1v2 clutch, they're literally putting in, I'm telling you, man, just like I said last video, they literally put in like 100 actions per second to do what like my Viper does by like pulling out my volley and shooting it at the bomb to clutch a 1v2. It's actually like crazy how hard he is. And we put Viper at 200 IQ on top of that. So imagine. Anyways, I think that's it for the tier list. I feel like we did a pretty good job. We've had, some controversy on other lists, but I feel like this one is pretty decent. But anyways, thank you guys for coming to the tier list. I appreciate it. I think it's now Subnautica time.